Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making milk bread, or Shokupan, as it's known in Japan. It's one of my favorite breads next to sourdough. I've tried a lot of different recipes for Shokupan, and I figured for me this is the easiest and also the quickest. You don't have to do something the day before, and it's quite limited in products that you need. It doesn't use sugar, it uses honey instead. So there's some differences, and I think it really makes the bread better and the process easier. But before we have a look at the ingredients, as always, if you're not a subscriber yet, do me the favor, support the channel by clicking subscribe and checking the bell icon so that you get notifications when new content is online. But now let's have a look here. So we'll start up here with our honey, 30 grams of honey. I'll put the quantities down in the description as well, together with the ingredients. So 30 grams of honey, 9 grams of dry yeast, 10 grams of salt. We have 30 grams of butter, room temperature. We have 405 grams of bread flour, 240 grams of milk, and 75 grams of water. We'll start by boiling water. I have the pot on already behind me, and mixing the ingredients except for the butter and the salt. So we got a bigger bowl for this. Put the flour in, the dry yeast, and we'll also scrape in the honey. And we'll just mix this up quickly to kind of evenly distribute the yeast at least. Now our water is boiled. We pour that into the milk, and we pour the milk in here. And we'll mix this together to hydrate the flour. That's enough for now. We'll get our dough scraper. And we'll just distribute it evenly and clean up the edges. Just as flat as possible. Now we cover this and let it stand for about half an hour to autolyze, to kind of let all the flour mix with the water and the milk. And then after that, we'll add the room temperature butter and the salt. Get this uncovered. Add our salt and our butter. Now all you have to do is mix this in. And it's quite easy if the butter is room temperature. And I switch to my hands because this step is a bit easier with your hands. Just work in all the butter and all the salt. And then we flatten it out again. We don't want too much air in it. We cover it and leave for another half hour. Another half hour has gone by. Get our dough out. I'll put a bit of flour here. We're first gonna press it out a bit, stretch it a bit. It's like kind of a normal stretch and fold. Fold it over once, and then we roll it up. And now we're making it ready for the first kind of fermentation, the first rise. So, nice little bowl. Put it back in here, cover it. And now it probably takes an hour. It needs to double in size. So depending on the temperature, humidity and so on in the room you're in. But keep an eye on it. It needs to double, probably about an hour. So I'll see you in an hour. Our dough has doubled in size. We still have our flour on the board here. First thing we do is to kind of press it out, get rid of as much air as we can. And now we're going to portion it. Now for the portioning, it depends very much on what your kind of bread container looks like. This is what mine looks like. And I need 5 different portions. So the easiest way to do that is just to weigh your whole dough. 777. Get a calculator out and do 777 divided by 5. So 777 divided by 5, 155.4. So we'll try to make each of them between 155 and 156 grams, and that should do the trick. Give the first one a try. Close but no cigar. 155. And then all you need to do is to kind of roll this into a ball. And we put it aside and we portion the other 5. And then I'll show you what to do with them afterwards. So we have our 5 dough lumps. Now it's time to prepare them. Get yourself a rolling pin. Roll it out. Now fold in from both sides. Flatten it nicely and roll it out again. And that should work quite nicely. And then all you need to do is roll it up. Try to close the end and leave it with the closure down. And then you do the other 4 like that, or depending on how many you need, just do the others, and then we'll place them into the baking tray. So we're done our 5 dough pieces, and now we'll just place them in this. I've oiled this with grapeseed oil. You can butter it or spray it or whatever you have. It's important to fat it. Perfect. Now you want to cover them again and let them rise until there's about 1 centimeter left to the top here. So again, depending on temperature and so on, probably around an hour, but keep an eye on it. So we'll do that and then we'll bake them. And while we wait for this to rise, preheat the oven already. I like to bake it, especially it depends on the tray, but especially with this, I like to bake it a bit warmer or a bit hotter. So I put it at around 210. So preheat the oven to your desired temperature, and then once this is ready, we can just pop it in. So you can see they've risen nicely. It was about 1 hour and 20 minutes now. And I changed my mind. I'm not going to make a square toast bread, so I'm not closing the lid today. And that's why I'm putting some egg wash on top. Just make sure you get it everywhere. So we have our egg wash everywhere. It's time to put them in. I have it at 210, like I said before. Should take about 25 to 30 minutes, but keep an eye on them. And take them out when they're nice and ready. Now that looks pretty beautiful, doesn't it? Let's see if we can get it out. And I will put it on a griddle like this to cool it down. Now I know it's very tempting to kind of cut into it straight away, but do let it cool. It's much better. So I'll see you in, maybe we can manage to wait 45 minutes until we cut in. So see you in 45. Our bread is cooled down a bit. But before we give it a try and pull it apart, if you're stuck with me this far, do me the huge favor and click that thumbs up button below. Hit it. Now, let's get this. Let's pull this side. Because you see it's a bit crooked there. This is heaven. You just pull some out like that. I get a proper bread knife and we'll cut a slice. When bread is this fresh, you don't need anything on it to enjoy it. It's so nice and airy. Perfect. So, as you saw, it wasn't a difficult recipe. There weren't any difficult steps or techniques to it. And it looks quite nice, right? So if you're into milk bread or Shokupan and want to find an easy recipe that works every time, try this one out. Now, it's a relatively short one today. That's already it. Before I say goodbye, if you're not a subscriber yet, do me the favor, click the subscribe button and check the bell icon to get notifications. Thank you for this time. Take care. Bye-bye.